Geology back with forecast for May 8th. We are firmly in pre-runoff stage, so we're going to see some fluctuations in flows when temperatures get up, and then when you see these drops in temperatures, you're going to see those flows settle down. So look for some variable flows, look for some variable clarity. Still very good fishing to be had. Tailwaters are a great option. We've seen some bumps and flows along the South Platte. So yeah, let's get to it. Let's talk bugs, flows, and weather. All right, to start off, looks like the freestones have sort of settled down a little bit, and we have some cooler weather over the weekend and into the beginning of next week. So things should settle out. We're seeing color, especially lower down on like the Eagle, lower down on the Colorado. You'll see more color the further down you go. When you do see color, pick two bugs that will serve you well. Double Ganga in black. I like using black, obviously, a lot, but when you get color in the water, black is super visible. You can also go super flashy, but it has a big profile, pushes a lot of water. You're gonna need to move a lot of water when the water gets a little bit more elevated, and black Ganga does the trick. Another good thing to have when you see bumps and flows, when you wanna work those edges, Cannon's worm. So I'd imagine in the next 2 weeks, we're gonna see the beginning of spring runoff. The later we can push it, the better, honestly. Like, the more we can keep that snow up in the high country and the later runoff is, the better shape we'll be in going into the summer. But I would imagine the spring runoff is probably going to start in the next 2 weeks. And when it does, big worms, you can throw triple worm rigs if you want to, triple patch rubber rigs as well. Throw these in the soft water, and if you find a pod of fish stacked up, you can do some work. So Cannon's worm in red, big leathery strip. The thing is a morsel. On the Arkansas, we're also seeing on the Colorado, the Eagle. Starting to see it on the South Platte. Caddis are out. I grabbed a foam caddis. This is a size 16. You can skate that. You can dead drift it. It's a versatile bug. It'll float good. It's also, you can drop off smaller droppers off of it. So if you wanted to drop off like a blue wing olive or something like that, certainly do the trick. We got the rats back here doing a little work. So I'm sure that's more entertaining than I am. Fourth fly is the extended body blue wing olive. This is in a size 20. Still seeing blue wing olives, especially on the freestones. Blue wing olives towards the end of the spring hatch will be smaller. So a smaller size 20, 22 do the trick. I really like the extended body blue wing olive. Super visible, floats good. It's about all you need out of a good dry fly. And then finally, I dropped it. Throwing a little bone to our good friend Bob Reese. Pick the Fusion Nymph in amber and peacock curl. Fusion Nymph, super buggy fly. Gets down deep. Sort of looks like a caddis, but can just look like a general bug. General bugs are good to fish this time of year. So that's why I picked it. Fusion Nymph, good on the freestones especially. So there we go. Those are the 5 flies I chose for the next 2 weeks. Let's get to flows. So flows are pretty consistent. We are seeing close to Deckers a little bit of a bump, and that's from some of those tribs moving in. I'll bring some cooler water. Also can bring some dirty water sometimes, so just be aware of that. Size up your tippet, size up your bugs. But as a general rule, we're seeing pretty stable flows on the South Platte. If you look at snowpack, you'll notice that South Platte's in a good position. And we are in need of some snow or some cooler weather, especially on the western slope. So it's going to be interesting to see how they manage that water. I think they're already sort of shutting down some of the tributaries, the dammed tributaries of the Colorado, saving up some water for those reservoirs. So we'll see how that plays out. With the lower flows, generally smaller tippet, but if you see bumps and flows like we do with Deckers, you can start bumping up that tippet and you'll start to see fish disperse into more interesting areas. So flows relatively consistent on the South Platte. That Decker section is getting a little bit more water, which is obviously a good thing. But yeah, that's that. The freestones, we saw some bumps last weekend, and we're seeing a lot of those sort of come down. There are, like the Roaring Fork, seeing a bump right now, but that's dropping. You're going to see these daily fluctuations in a lot of the freestones. If you look at the Eagle got up to like 650 down near gypsum and has dropped back down, and it's starting to climb back up. Down lower, you're going to see more color in the water from those dirty lower tribs. But as a general rule, we're going to see these fluctions over the next couple weeks, and then eventually when we get really hot, like 70-degree weather up in like around Vail, a lot of that snow in the high country is going to start to bust off, and then we'll really see the start of spring runoff. So we're in that pre-runoff stage. Flows are certainly elevated. That generally means if you can find clearer water, you're going to find hungry fish and fish that are willing to eat bigger bugs. So take that as a positive. You got to take some risks this time of year, or you can just go to still waters and crush them on still waters. Take your pick. So yeah, that's flows. Let's get to weather. So we're seeing some rain and clouds over the next 4 days, both here and up in the high country. And then it's going to be relatively cool throughout the remainder of next week and into next weekend. It's going to get into the mid 60s up in Vail, and then down here in like Sedalia, Deckers area, we're going to see those highs in the 70s. So these aren't runoff flows. They'll certainly start spiking some rivers, but you won't see the big push of water. It should need to get hotter in order for that water that snow to melt. So it's really good weather for the caddis that we're seeing, the Mother's Day caddis that we're seeing. Happy Mother's Day out to all the mothers out there. That's this Sunday, as a personal reminder to myself. So we're seeing some good weather, not terribly hot. It's good to have some rain, obviously, more water the better. So yeah, nothing crazy. We're just sort of in this in-between period. It's a period of transition. You can find some really good fishing this time of year. Just have to sort of plot it out and take a chance or two. So there we go. That's bugs, flows, and weather. Appreciate you guys tuning into the forecast. As always, you can find us here in the Denver shop, up in the Frisco shop, online, troutsflyfishing.com. Bye now.